I would like to call Meriem again to moderate the next panel. And I'm quite happy because 4 out of the 5 panelists are coming from my country of origin and my country of adoption for the past 10 years, Greece and Belgium respectively. So I'm more than happy to call to the stage Mr. Bruno Dunkel from ImpaktEU as an investor, Mrs. Christiana Gardikioti from Meraki people, Mr. Fanis Mesolongitis from Natech, Mrs. Corina Oprea from Craita, Merelor, and last but not least, Panos Tournavitis from the Cooperative Bank of Karditsa. Floor is all yours.
Okay, so we have the chance, yes, please. We have the chance to continue our dialogue and conversation. We have here in the panel, so we want to continue on the keynote, and we also want to be very concrete and practical, and also for you to come back after this discussion with ideas, what are the best solutions, what are the best tools, and how can you maybe help with some of the discussion. We have the chance to have 2 entrepreneur women leaders here, and we're going to start very concretely by listening to them. I think that you can see their name here, but I will briefly introduce each of them. So we have Corina, who is an entrepreneur, and she's going to share with you her needs, her experience, and I hope there will be a dialogue about how we can use the example of Corina to invest in this type of entrepreneur. We have Christiana, so from Greece, I understood, but she's an entrepreneur that is supporting other organizations, and she will tell her story, which is very inspiring. And we have Ethical Bank with Panagiotis, Cooperative in Greece also. We have Investor with ImpaktEU with Bruno Dunkel, and we also have Tech organization with Fanis. So we have a very nice, diverse panel, and it's my honor and pleasure that we can start maybe with an example of entrepreneur experience. And I'm going to ask Christiana to share her story and her motivation and her inspiration. I'm not sure if I am responsible for the time or if you are, because I'm in a very good mood, so it can last forever. So, okay, so he's the bad guy.
Hello. I would like you to start dreaming and then acting. Without the dream, we could not be anywhere. Without the action, we just dream. I am making a calling to everyone in the room to help me build a pilot regenerative village up in the mountains in northern Kinuria, Arcadia, Greece. Imagine that you are inside a bus and you're coming to co-design and to co-create with other people, spreading the risk. Since I'm talking to investors here, yes, and involving everyone with a small bit part. You see, this is my region, and it's dying, big time. I don't want it dead. I want it regenerative. I am inviting sciences, technology, engineers, environmentalists, artists, because without them you cannot communicate, agriculturalists, and mathematics, because they do the data, and without data you are done. To change mindsets from extractive to regenerative, and go to my country from this cannot happen here, to let's make that village, and let's invite everybody to come and see it and touch it. We connect locals, decision makers, and ESG practitioners, Our product is biodiversity tourism and also learning experiences from community to community trading. We went and we sought help, and this is in Athens, where we established how did we create value? By making the surrounding ecosystem part of income creation while cultivating compassion for it. Go get the fungi in the mountains. Put them in the microscope. Understand what fungi do, and they do beautiful things, and then make bricks out of mushrooms. And you know, this is, and it should be, something that the farmers, the shepherds, the youth can understand. So we are bringing locals, living soil, and bio-based business. We were just funded by the European Union for, in the soil mission, a Horizon program in order to start with 35 farmers to change the soil, because this is tremendously important. Change the soil to living soil and understand what the biome on soil can do to the biome in your gut and can do to the biome of the planet. And here is the person that did, Professor Gunther Pauli, the El Hierro miracle. I asked him, if you can do this miracle, can you come and help my village? In 24 hours, he gave me an email and he said, when? When everybody was telling me, you cannot do that here. I am doing world cafes with the youth. I am going to Silicon Valley and I'm saying, look, you gotta help me. The picture with the blue t-shirts, first clients. I have proof of concept. And now, their second time. The mushrooms are the cuttings from the olive branches that now are burned, made into mushrooms, but also in the BioFab lab, very frugal, very small, but a BioFab lab. Then I am going to show you the tree that was producing olives when Homer was reciting Odyssey and Iliad. That's biodiversity. And this tree in my village was about to be taken down to be burned. We cannot afford that anymore. And this is the clients really discussing and really co-designing, and of course, the numbers. I don't have the time to explain them, but they are good numbers and doable. And of course, here is the product that we are cultivating, among other things, and we would like to do fungi, algae, additive manufacturing, and biocyclic production. We welcome competition because we are short in delivering. Welcome, if people copy us, that would be the best news. And this is the team, I cannot do it alone, you see. And I've brought in the person for the waters, I've brought in the person for making the people entrepreneurs. Without the farmers, you cannot do a thing because they are feeding us. Of course, technology has a big saying, and the agricultural education. Of course, we need to have metrics. We are using data, but the most important is that we do bio-based projects. We have accomplishments, we have an excellent network, and we are calling with the partnerships with EU. We went and we participated in Climate Kick, and we got the latest is a good thing about Meraki people in the Polytechnical School in northern Greece with the greatest impact. Before I close, I would like to say one thing. It's nice to talk, but it takes guts to do. I think I have them, but I'm calling upon you to come and help me to prove that guts can change the world, and you are the solution.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So you see the bar is set up. We are not going to leave this room without doing something, and I will follow up on the commitment with the team here. Thank you very much for this inspiring, and again, nothing is impossible. I think this is clear. Corina, would you like to share with us your experience, your work, and how also the topic of the day, the climate change and biodiversity, is affecting your entrepreneur? Thank you.
Hello everyone, thank you so much for being here. I'm Corina and I represent Craita Merelor. I'm one of the entrepreneurs that I'm personally today very inspired by Christiana and by Miriam's speeches, because this is how it all started for me as well. When coming from an area very famous in apple orchards in Romania, it's called Voinești. A few years ago, the area was almost dying, and everything I would hear around me was that you just continue your work in the corporate world, don't invest here, it's not gonna work. So 4 years ago, what I did was to, let's say, build a wall around all these advice that I got from people around me, and said, I will change the area. I will invest in it, and I will make it happen. So what I did was to continue my family business in the apple farming. What I did was to start and invest in looking at the apple farming in another way, in bringing people into the orchards. And after 4 years, there are hundreds of people that visit the village in the autumn to pick apples, to teach young children what apple farming is about, to have them taste and pick the apples themselves, things that nobody thought about 5 years ago. Although people wanted to come to the area, the farmers were not open to hosting schools or even just people from the city to come and see what is apple farming about. I have started doing this 4 years ago, and now hundreds, thousands of people in the autumn come and see the area, come and learn about apple farming, come and see how important is it to care about the area, to invest in it, and to consume local products. The next step that I did in order to continue developing our family business was to be even bolder. I have started tourism in the area. Again, this would be continuing the family tradition, because my parents were and are very fond of cultivating apples there, and they have built a house. How many of you don't have a house in the village that you grew in that is almost forgotten? Let's see. Anyone in the room? I see a few hands there, a few hands there. So my bet was on transforming the house that my parents built and we never moved in, and transform it into a premium villa for tourists to come in to enjoy 15,000 square meters of orchard, of fresh fruit, of fresh vegetables, not only to learn about the area, but to stay there and feel what this is about. And coming to our subject today, How did climate change influence us and how does it impact us? As an entrepreneur, I can see that it is very difficult to think on the long term for the next 30, 50 years about this family business continuation, to continue our family business without evolution, without transforming it, without innovation. So today when we have very many challenges regarding the weather. We have drought, we have floods, we may have other impactful events that make us think, how can we change our business, but still keep the tradition? So my question for the panel today and my need would be, what are the tools and how can we work together in order to continue the family businesses, the traditional businesses, when climate change is so important and is happening right now? What can we do together in order to offer young entrepreneurs the tools, the data necessary, and the connections, the community that they need in order to continue the tradition of a family business and to expand it and evolve it in the next years? So I would pass the microphone to Meriem and to the panel.
Thank you very much, Corina. Thank you. Very, very concrete, and this is a question I'm going to ask the social finance investor, the tech provider. What do you think about what you just heard? And start to answer the question of Corina. What can we do? Bruno, you want to start?
Yes, sure. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Corina, I think to answer your question, you pointed already some very important things. I would take it's not just a question of finance. Finance has a role to play, is very important. It could induce a change, but the change without all other elements you mentioned, mentoring, getting access to expertise, sharing expertise with others, and developing and being an entrepreneur. I mean, the finance without that, it wouldn't work. So we need people like you. We need people like you as well to let us believe that we can invest in your projects. I am more from, I would say, a fund perspective, because we manage a fund. We are not directly investing into microfinance businesses. We do invest in some social enterprises, that's true, and that's new. But from a fund perspective, we are ourselves, I would say, a part of a chain. And because we all have a role to play, it's very important also for us to know what is the role you expect us to do, and I will tell you. And at the same time, you have also to understand that we have a role to play. Basically, as fund manager, we go and raise money from, in our case, especially private investors. And it is quite interesting to know that in our case, we are more a private initiative. So we are actually building from private investors, crowding in public investors to help develop an impact approach. And in your case, I would say what we like to do is to identify those local partners who have better understanding of what is your exact, I would say, environment and what you have to deal with. And we will provide them with finance. We will not just give the lend the finance or the equity, but we will also ask them to pledge, and to pledge on developing impact with you. That means going into a maybe more adventurous way, because it's about assessing new risks. It's about finding ways to address those risks and alleviate those risks. you know, finance is a lot about risks. So, and we will, and we are thriving to also provide solutions by sharing examples of what we have seen of finance already in other countries, of what we believed are good practices, and creating contacts also with either tech providers or solutions that we believe prove to be, could help really to change your approach. And last point, I would say we would also, in terms of climate change, really much emphasize that you need to anticipate. So it's not about working in the present, it's also preparing the future. And for that, it's very important to access that knowledge that is key for that. We provide the finance, we can facilitate access to knowledge and expertise and so on, but I think we need also other partners for that. So we are not the only one, we are just one element in the chain.
Okay, thank you very much, Bruno. I will come back to you with some questions about the best good practices and solutions, but I would like to hear also the perspective from Ethical Bank. So maybe Panagiotis, if you can share your impression, and then we go to ask Fanis also. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Meriem, and hi to all. Listening to Christiana and Corina really answers the questions why I love my job so much. Because daily we talk to people that share that kind of passion about what they are doing. So, first of all, it's very important to keep that flame burning. And this is the role of our bank, to identify the projects and keep that flame alive. Of course, that's easier said than done, because from both entrepreneurs, we heard that they have very good projects, but they have the question of how can they be sustainable and how can they be viable. And we can certainly help in that direction, first of all, through financing. But what exactly do we finance? To finance something, as Christiana has mentioned has depicted very vivid, you have to have a proof of concept, you have to have a business plan, you have to make the numbers either match or create a concrete social impact that we as a bank will be willing to invest. And to answer Corina's question, you certainly need to invest in climate adaptation strategy. Because since you deal with the agricultural sector, then climate change and climate adaptation is something that you should be considered can be taken very seriously. And we provide financial products tailored to these kind of investments in adaptive technology and practices. So we can help to finance for diversified crops, advanced storage solutions for the apples, and innovative harvesting methods that will make their business more efficient. Of course, we need to have a connection with the market, and you have to utilize some marketing innovation to that direction, because it's clearly that, as Corina's example has showed, there's a shift in consumer preferences. Due to climate change, they're starting to think differently. So this is a significant challenge as well. So we support initiatives that help traditional business, family businesses, to pivot their market strategies, such as developing new tourism, for example, new tourism offerings, and exploring different market segments. And we do this through our advisory services that we provide to our clients, because financing is one pillar, but providing also some advisory to your clients is also very, very important. And that comes to the importance of educational and training. You cannot be an entrepreneur without a proper knowledge of what you are doing, about the risks you are taking, and about where the marketing is going. So this is very important, and we offer as a bank a wide access to educational material and training. And of course, to conclude, I think what is also very important is opportunities for collaboration and innovation, and to be able to be present in such an event and telling your story is always a good opportunity to collaborate with peers and spread the message that everything is doable with the right partners. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Panos. We'll come back to the challenges that you have raised, but Fanis, please, what is your perspective on what has been said so far?
Hello on my side and good morning. Thank you, Meriem. So today I represent technology, but for 2 minutes I would like to talk about apples. Now you may wonder, and I wonder, what apples have to do with technology? And you have to remember, climate change is a given. This morning I had breakfast in the hotel, and it was in the news, a high heat wave in half of Europe. It's here, it's in my country, Greece, Athens. The average temperature has increased a lot in the last few years. So climate change is here and we have to do something. And Corina explained to us, and also she told me before, what it takes for an apple to come in our table, to have it here. We take it for granted. We wake up, go to the supermarket and we buy an apple. Sorry, Corina, I couldn't find your apples in the local supermarket. I bought another brand. It made me think what it takes for one apple to reach it here. What it takes and how easily the whole chain of production can be disrupted. There is a flood, there is an increase in temperature, there is more rain or less rain, and this apple would never reach here. And the apple, it grows from its core. It needs a strong core, the seed, because it grows from the inside to the outside. So if this apple is rotten from the inside, nobody would want it. We would buy it, and then when we cut it, we will throw it away. But why do we buy it? To fulfill a need, but we look on the outside. It's shiny, it's red, it looks good, it's appealing. If this apple was black or with many holes and rotten, would you buy it? I guess not. Now, this is the same with technology. We provide technology. We have a robust core. If our core was rotten, nothing would work. We couldn't help microfinance institutions and banks to help their clients. But also we need the skin, the shiny skin, the digital front end. We talked about it and we'll talk more. People need to have a user-friendly digital front end, something that looks nice, that helps them use it and they would want to use it. The customers of microfinance institutions and banks need a digital front end that will ask them to use it, that they will help them to use it, so they could have access to all the things that we discussed and we will discuss further. I don't know if you have seen the movie, My Big Fat Greek Wedding. It has one of my favorite, quotes there. At the end, we're all fruit, we're all apples. We're one with nature. Meriem told us before, without nature, without biodiversity, we wouldn't exist. So think about it. Apples, technology, at the end are all the same. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I want to ask again each of you, maybe Fanis, I can come to you. I would like to ask, what is the key challenge for you now in your business, in your activity, linked to the issue of climate change and biodiversity loss? And if you have this challenge, what is needed to be changed in your business to make it, to fix it?
Okay, thank you. It's my turn again. Great. So, as I said, at Natech we specialize in solutions for microfinance institutions and banks. And we recognize that we play a critical role, but also the microfinance institutions and the banks, you play a critical role in the whole of the challenges that the entrepreneurs face. We heard some challenges here. The challenges that I have identified, and I believe we could help and are in the forefront, is first of all the carbon footprint, emissions, CO2 emissions. Everything that we do has a carbon footprint. We need to find ways to mitigate that. This is a major challenge, and we know that the European Union is passing always stricter laws about CO2 emissions and how the whole process is affected. Even when I travel, I have to say to my company how I'm traveling and what I'm using, and if I'm using a taxi or in a hybrid vehicle or whatever, to calculate the ESG impact. Then there is the access that it was both mentioned by our speakers about financing, access to green financing, climate-smart loans. There is the need of accessing lending that will help entrepreneurs adapt to the climate change, conserve this biodiversity. Very important was mentioned, especially by Christiana, data. We need information. We cannot make decisions, entrepreneurs cannot make decisions if they don't have information, meaningful insights. We need meaningful data that actually can be interpreted and explained in a way that help the entrepreneurs, not just numbers scattered around. And then it's a sustainable business model. There is the need for all entrepreneurs to have a sustainable business model, and it needs to be supported by all of the community. I have an example here, and it's from my friend Panos from Bank of Karditsa. I know he's modest, but his bank has helped a lot the whole of the community. Last year in Greece, in that part of the area, there were big floods. Maybe you've seen it in the news. Huge disasters. A lot of entrepreneurs were actually destroyed. And Bank of Karditsa helped them, and helped a lot, and helped with providing financing, providing help through resilience and robustness, and even their own governor of the Central Bank of Greece commemorated Bank of Karditsa on how resilient and robust they were. And I'm saying Bank of Karditsa because it happens, they're using our software. So we can help all together. There is a chain there. It's the technology, it's the banks and the microfinance institutions using this technology, and we're trying, all of us, to help the entrepreneurs. We heard before, governments are here to help us, but it's not enough. We need to help ourselves. Entrepreneurs need to help ourselves and the whole community. And just to conclude, this is my first time I've been to the EMN conference. And what I've said to all the people that they asked me, if I take one thing out of here, is the sense of community that I feel here. It is like a huge community putting our masks first in the airplane, but then we're trying to help the others as well. And this is number one point that I take out of this conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Fanis. So I understood from your talk that one of the solutions is to have more Panagiotis in this world. So Panagiotis, what is your feeling about the challenge? How can we help you to help other people?
Well, for us, thank you very much, Fanis, for your kind words, first of all. But for us, challenges are not hypothetical, are not in a hypothetical scenario. In the last 4 years, we have 2 major catastrophic floods in our regions that affected a lot the livelihood and the well-being of our clients. So for us, the challenge is to be as proactive as possible. So the first of all is to provide access to finance to all and to all good entrepreneurs in our region, to everyone that wants to stand up again in their feet and start their business again. So we are obliged to do so. So first of all is enhancing access to finance. Second is, of course, try to mitigate risk. Try to design new financial instruments that will mitigate risk and will put others, as the government, as the Hellenic Development Bank, EIF, and everyone that can help. So be part of this, let's say, initiative. But of course, the most challenging part is to spread the knowledge and change the mentality of the people that live in our area to be, and then again proactive. We don't speak after the first flood, there was this discussion that this only happens one every 1,000 years. That was on the news. That it never is going to happen again. So it was once in a lifetime and never will happen again. So no need to worry. Everything will be fine. And this is what we are believing as well. Because in our region, there has been no flood history. And 2 years after, a second, more catastrophic flood happened in the same week, in the same month. Everything happened the first week of September. So you understand how we are feeling about this September. We are eager and have our fingers crossed because we know now that is going to happen. Maybe not this year, but maybe next year or the year after, but in the next 5 years, it will certainly happen. So this put a lot of pressure on us to be as proactive as possible and try to spread the word to our clients as well. So this is important, the knowledge, and to help them build the right capacity for their business to be sustainable as well.
Thank you. This is a point well taken, and I think that here UNESCO can help also. But Bruno, you mentioned that before, the need for anticipation, and this is what I'm hearing also, a lot of what do we do to prevent, how do we invest, and anticipate, because more fires, more floods, we can see that in Europe. This is going to happen with climate change and biodiversity loss. So anticipation, what needs to be done? What is the key challenge for you?
Well, anticipation for me, and this is certainly for me a first challenge, is raising awareness. I mean, we are financing microfinance sector in Europe for almost 18 years right now. We know many MFIs, we know many banks as well, and we have seen only recently awareness raising in terms of what climate change may really and how climate change can influence their activities. We were a little bit instrumental, I have to say, with that, because we were asking our investees and partners, okay, what are you doing? Response rates were very, very low, I have to say, 3 years ago. But we are very glad to see that in 3 years' time right now, what used to be a 30% is now getting to 60, 65%. But it doesn't mean yet that a strategy is put in place. It doesn't mean yet that people within the bank or within the MFI have been trained to assess how, at the level of their own clients, climate change may have an impact. So it is, in our sense, this is part of our duty, because we have a bit more of a distance. We are not into, I would say, daily business, and this is how we can really definitely help. I said we provide also money, and we provide money with pledges. That means that we say, okay, with that money we expect you to develop new products, to go from specific productions or populations. We include climate change into that. But it's also about education, as was mentioned by Panos, in the sense, an education of the MFIs, in the sense that fighting climate risk is not just about proposing solar panels. Because this is, I mean, this is green microfinance, we know, but it does not provide a solution in terms of climate change. What you have to do is maybe anticipate even more. To what extent are you really on the side of your customers to tell them, by the way, have you experienced, or do you think you might experience a flood or a fire? Or, you know, also very often, I would say climate risk perception is higher in rural MFIs. And urban MFIs think, so we're not that concerned. A flood is never going to happen in our city. No, but you are exposed to other different risks, by the way. So did you integrate this into your risk mapping? And if yes, okay, what are the measures you have taken? So all this is part of our job. It's not funny. I know. Sometimes we get, I would say, reactions to say, oh.
Yeah.
But we believe it's part of our duty, and this is what we do it, because impact is that. Impact is a journey. Impact is not just measuring something happening at one moment. It's also helping you to face better circumstances in the future.
And building scenarios and
Exactly.
and hopefully positive scenarios.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We have short of time. I can see my friends looking at me. But before we close and wrap up, I want to ask you. I want to ask our two entrepreneurs, Corina and Christiana, if there was a genius in the room, and maybe there are many, what would be your wish? That you, very concrete, because I know that we do here. We don't talk. But what would be your wish, the both of you? And then I will ask all of you to give a kind of positive feedback about what you think is working and could be really a sign of concrete action and hope for the future in your activities. So Christiana and then Corina, and then all of you as a conclusion, something positive for people to reflect in the room before I conclude. Please.
I would like to have support for my two scientists inside the BioFab Lab so they can start helping my youth to establish bio-based business. And those are the salaries of two scientists and maybe a small part in equipment. If we can start with that, we have a bio-based rural revolution.
So you know where she's here. She's not going to go anywhere, okay?
Well, for me, the genius would come with the ability to offer or to work in the near future to have the data in order to predict for the next 30 years how is our region going to evolve, and to have the finance as well to fund knowledge, data analysis, and as well the transformation of the area in order to support the biodiversity, to keep it, to support it, and to see how it will look for the next 30 to 50 years.
Thank you so much. Bruno, what could be a key solution, hope that you can share with the room?
There are so many. But I think definitely I would love, because I know there are many in the room, one MFI or one credit union that is willing to work with Corina and say, okay, let's work and build something together out of this example, because it could be very emblematic, and try to replicate this in all over Romania, but maybe not just Romania as well. I think that would be certainly one of my wish. Otherwise, I mean, I have many other ones, but I think also I would wish to have a better cooperation between microfinance and microinsurance systems, because when it comes to climate risk, I think this is very important also to have that element embedded. And seeing more examples like yours, also in Greece, and some examples that we have already financed, by the way, and we believe could be really instrumental for showcasing that when people work together, they can really transform. They can transform the nature, they can transform their business, and they simply ensure their future, not just for them, but for next generations as well.
Thank you so much. Panagiotis.
First of all, I'm really sorry that I cannot help Corina since he's in a different country, but I will certainly evaluate Christiana, and we'll see whether we can do business together. So this is a concrete result about being extrovert and spreading your stories. And my wish, if there was a genie, I will wish that all banks and MFIs have this holistic approach to entrepreneurship that will combine environmental sustainability, economic resilience, and social responsibility. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Fanis.
So as a positive closing note, I would say that technology is here to help us. Technology is not a bad thing if we use it properly. We can have data from technology, we have analytics, insights, then take informed decisions. We can support entrepreneurs and MFIs and banks with technology to help them move to the digital era. Digitalization is a good thing. It reduces carbon footprint. You don't have to travel 100 kilometers to go to your branch and sign for a loan or apply for a loan. Everything can be done online. We can reduce the emissions. We can use technology to have less, let's say, dependency on hardware. We can use cloud, we can use less hardware. We know hardware consumes a lot of electricity, a lot of energy. So by embracing technology and using smartly, we can reduce the climate change impact and also the biodiversity loss. It is something that we can help all. We can have sustainable integrations, but also we can integrate sustainability through technology, ESG matrix, and other tools to have a sustainable future. We were talking about the future, what we would like to do next year, in the years to come, but we need to make sure that we have a future. And in order to do so, we need to have sustainability in all our operations, being technology, banking, finance, production, agriculture, farming, tourism, whatever we do. So my message here and the positive thought is, let's make sure we have a future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I will conclude. I'm very grateful for the members of the panels and for the organizers to have enabling us to have this discussion. I hope it was useful for you. What I'm taking from this is that it's like cooking a good meal, you know? You have different ingredients and you have quality products, and then you are passionate about cooking because you want to give pleasure, you want to celebrate life, and you want to celebrate that with other people. And I think that today we have some part of the solution together. Each of us has an ingredient, special skill, a special talent, and a passion. And you can see what is common. They want to share. They don't want to do that on their own. And this is what I see in the beauty of our life, is that there are some people you invest, we talk about investment, but we invest in people that are going to make the change and that people that believe that we can do things differently. I'm going to go back to Paris and to Unesco with the feeling that this microfinance world is composed of humans too. And I think this is very important that we have this space for dialogue, and that we understand each other and that we help each other, like I've seen today. What I can say is that in UNESCO, the network I have presented to you, the Biosphere Reserve or the World Heritage, this is exactly the same. It's human. They have Corina everywhere, not only in Romania. You're blessed to be in Romania and Greece. But we have these places where people are getting together with data, with information, anticipating climate change, trying, sometimes failing, but trying to do the best. So if I can, with this meeting today, and with the help of the organizer, try to connect those two communities together so there is a win-win for you, for us. We are ready to share information about the risk of climate change and biodiversity and use some concrete example with entrepreneurs in all the different countries, share awareness, share some methodology to your world. And then if you can give example to entrepreneurs about solutions and tools and what can be done so our two communities can work together and we have a win-win strategy together, at least in the EU, with countries by country, identify the places where there are Corina, Christiana and others, and do this matching like a wedding. that is going to be happy for the future ever and ever again. Thank you so much. Have a lovely end of conference, and we keep in touch. Thank you so much to the organizers.